This is the Real Estate Investing Abundance Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allen. I know you're excited to get into today's show, but I have a very exciting announcement to share with you before moving to the show. We've just launched a complimentary and comprehensive webinar that, among other things, shows you how to legally use passive real estate investing to reduce your taxes, recession-proof your nest egg, and take the sting out of inflation. If you are curious to learn more, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. It is complimentary and only takes a couple of minutes of your time. Once again, that is stevetalker.com/webinar. I'll see you in the webinar. Enjoy today's show. Hello, enlightened investors. Welcome back to Real Estate Investing Abundance. I'm your host, Dr. Allen. What a delight it is to be back with you again today, and thank you for taking the time to be with us. We have a delightful show and delightful guest with us today, and we are going to take a look at getting real and embracing authenticity on our path to freedom. And with us today are Flip and Dani Lynn Robison, and they are the co-founders of the Freedom family of companies. They have bought and sold over 1,200 properties and have acquired 600 multifamily units. Most well known for their very first 56-unit apartment complex, nicknamed Drug, Thugs, and Bugs. And I've had that myself. So I'm interested in your story as well. So while every possible thing could go wrong and felt like it did, their grit won the day and rewarded them with over $2 million in profit in 21 months. So happy to have you with us. Please take us into the show, Flip and Dani Lynn, and tell us about a memorable experience that brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have one, but I'm going to start with mine. When I was growing up, I was raised up in church, and one of the things that my parents always taught me was giving back. And so we would always be going on mission trips. We would be getting on the bus, and we'd be going to the homeless areas and helping prepare food and drop that off. And I think that one thing has carried through in life because everything that Flip and I have built to date is really centered around giving back. And that doesn't mean just giving back financially to organizations that we care about. It means giving back to people who are on the same journey with us. So people who are on a journey of financial freedom, who are trying to figure out where to start, which path is right for them, and who to trust. People who need education that we can offer. That's just, it's something that's big on my heart. And I think it started, in my younger years.
Wow. Well, great. Always nice to have parents who can leave a lasting legacy in the examples that they leave for us.
Yes.
Anything to add to that, Flip?
Well, I mean, it's sort of the same answer, but one of the things that I've always been taught to be happy. I've always been taught to, I always joke because I don't see a glass half full or a glass half empty. I get a glass, I'm excited, and so it's, I always try to see the bright side of everything, no matter what situation it is. So I always try to bring that to the table, no matter if we just lost $70,000 on a house or, or whatever the case may be, or the drugs, slugs, and bugs story. Cause that one, we couldn't do anything but laugh at that. So, but that's really,
that's so true. He brings joy to everything that we do.
Well, what a wonderful way to live, and not only healthy emotionally, but research tells us that that's very, 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 very healthy for our physiology as well. In fact, people who experience more positive emotions than those who do not have a 10-year life expectancy beyond those who don't experience it. So you're going to live a long time, and that's a good thing.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, interesting stories, but let's get into your real estate story here, and tell us about the Freedom Family Companies and how it is that you all got those started, and why did you do that?
Absolutely. And Flip, I'm going to let you take this.
Well, fast forward all the way to the end. Right now, we have 7 companies. We're based out of Centerville, Ohio, which is just on the south side of Dayton, Ohio. We have 59 team members, and all of the companies are vertically integrated. I'm going to get to that in a second. And like you had mentioned, we've done over 1,500 deals. We've raised over $20 million through podcasts and word of mouth, and we currently hold a portfolio valued at over $32 million. How this all started was we discovered, after being real estate investors for almost 8 years at the point, we discovered turnkey real estate, and we absolutely fell in love with that model. And we built our first company in 2017 called Freedom Real Estate Group. And that was the original company. And that was to buy turnkey properties and to sell turnkey properties. And then shortly after that, I'll try to make this as fast as possible. Shortly after that, we needed to create a rehab company because we were getting screwed, pardon my French, by all the contractors. And so we created our own renovations company. Then after that, we created our own property management company because we went through 5 property management companies at that point. And so we had to create that company. And therefore, we needed a broker. So we created our own retail brokerage. And then after that, we created our acquisitions company because all the wholesalers ran out of deals. And so we had to have our own deals coming in. And so all of the companies were created via necessity. And they were just all stacked right on top of each other. And now we're into syndication and funds. And so apartment buildings. And so we just keep stacking on top. And the 7th company is now a hard money lending company. Right. That'll be very soon. And it's just stacking on top of that. I don't know if we can stack anymore.
Oh, yeah. I got plans for it.
It's like Jenga over here. She just keeps building. But all of the companies were all built because we needed them, and we didn't want to rely on anyone else because we know that we're going to take better care of our properties and our babies more than anyone else will.
Well, that is interesting, and I can certainly see how all of those certainly work together and do stack upon top of one another. And I think all of us in the investing world have felt your pain in conjunction with contractors and subcontractors and with property managers. And so I can certainly see why you would want to reach out and to develop those companies to really gain more control over the processes and deliver in the end a much better product than what you would be able to without vertically integrating those. So you probably have a lot of investment options. What is your most popular investment option in today's market?
Yeah. So right now, we are seeing a lot of people lean toward debt type instruments instead of equity type instruments, mainly because of the market. And they just have a feeling of more security, higher security when they have a definite rate of return, as opposed to a possibility of the return and unsure of how the economy is going to change, how material and labor prices are going to change, how interest rates will change when it's time to refinance, things like that. So we're really kind of capitalizing on listening to our investors. And, I literally get on the phone with the investors and I say, hey, what's going on right now? What are you liking? What are you not liking, and why? So that I can discover what's going to be the best fit for the network of people that do invest with us. So our most popular program right now has been our Master Note program. And it's just because of the flexibility. It allows people to invest whatever it is that they want to invest. A minimum of $25,000 is required. You don't have to be accredited. It's like a promissory note of sorts to our company, and it allows our company to continue its growth. And so we'll use those funds. We have a separate bank account for every single investor. That's why you don't have to be accredited, because we're not pooling funds together. It's your individual account, and you can call anytime to say, hey, where's my funds at? And we'll use it sometimes for operations, for growth, or sometimes we'll use it for deals. So it's just a matter of, we always want to be using the money because we're paying 10 to 12% return on a quarterly basis. Some of our investors want the distributions. Some of them want to compound. So we give them that option and that flexibility. And the note is a 5-year auto renewable note, meaning every single year you you have the opportunity to cash out if you want to cash out. But if you don't, you can just renew, and it'll automatically renew unless you say, hey, Dani, we actually want to cash out. And then you just have to give a 6 months notice. So wherever the funds are, we're able to pull it back out, plus any interest owed in case you were compounding, and make sure that we're paying that out. So because of the flexibility of it, it's by far the most popular program we have.
Well, that's it sounds like a unique program too. I don't know that I know anyone else who has a program quite like that. So, where did you come by setting that up, and how did you get started with that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. It came from one of our investors. So I literally talked to my investors to see what it is that, how we can serve them better. And so one of our investors said, hey, I love working with you and I want to keep working with you. But as a private lender, I don't want to keep going in and out of the deals. I really just want you to keep my money and keep using it for whatever you need it. I don't care if I'm helping you with the growth of the business. I don't care if you're using it on deals. Just use the money and don't keep giving it back to me. And this was a doctor, and he said, like yourself, and he was like, I'm busy and I don't have time to be evaluating these deals and going to wire the money every single time. So I said, okay, let's talk to my attorney. And so I got on the phone with my attorney and I explained, this is what one of our investors would like to do. Can we make this happen? He goes, yeah, let me tell you about a master note program. And I was like, oh, okay. And so the attorney actually kind of came up with the program. It ended up being like a 5-page agreement. And so me and this investor went back and forth on the agreement to make sure it was going to keep him happy. It was actually him who came up with the, hey, can I just keep it with you for 5 years? And every year I have the option if I would like the money back. And I was like, sure. I told the attorney, and the attorney said, yes, we can do that. And we went back and forth until it was exactly what he wanted. And so, and he was an investor who came to our office, literally said, I think I've got $50,000 to invest. We didn't know him. And so he came down, met us, took a tour of the office. And by the time he left, he was like, okay, I don't have 50. I actually have $200,000. And we were like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Okay, let's, and I think he started in private money lending because that's the only program we had at the time. And now, I think 5 years later, he has over $2 million with us. And most of it is in the Master Note program, but he also is in some of our syndications. And so that was the relationship that created the program. And as I told other investors, hey, I actually created this program for one of the other investors that's with us. What do you think of it? And just investor after investor was like, yes, that's a great idea. And not everybody did. Some of them really just wanted to be a private money lender. They wanted to make sure that they had a first lien position backed by real estate. So I would say, if I'm going to guess, it was like a 70-30 split of 70% went into the master notes and 30% stayed in the private money lending program. So what we did as a lesson from that is we created a fund that would do that. So that one's SEC, regulated. It's for accredited investors only. And so we've started building each investment vehicle as a result of just listening to what people wanted.
So this master note program, sounds just really kind of like a hybrid of private lending. And so you've gone through your attorney. So I guess you've gone through the legal loopholes in conjunction with that. But because it is just private lending, I'm guessing it's not regulated by SEC. Is that correct?
That is correct. And that's why it can be for non-accredited and accredited investors. And that's, again, why Flip is in charge of creating a brand new bank account every single time that we have an investor come in, because we do separate the funds. Yeah,
I guess you could get into a lot of trouble if you were not separating those funds, is my guess.
Yes. And I don't want to do that.
So very interesting concept there. Since it's not backed directly by a deed of trust connected with real property there, it must take a lot of trust. You must have had to really develop a lot of trust with your investors before really even opening up that fund. And the reason you can sustain it is because of your track record and because you are trustworthy in conjunction with that.
That's right. That's actually one of the questions I talk about all the time is people want to know, where do I start? Which path is right for me? And who do I trust? And that trust piece, I've been on the phone with investors who have lost money, and it breaks my heart. And one of the things I say all the time is you can call our title company, and we do 99.9% 9% of our deals with them. The only time we don't do it is if we get negotiated to have to use another title company, but they know all of our private lenders. We've paid 100% of their capital back, 100% of any returns owed, even if we lost money. So we just, it's in our character that we put these people first, right? We wouldn't be where we are today without our private lenders, without our master note investors. We literally grew the way we did because of them. And the last thing you want to do is ruin those relationships. So it's priority one for us.
Yeah. Well, with all of your companies, you probably have other investment opportunities as well, besides the master notes. And you just alluded to the fund for your syndication programs. So what else do you have?
Yeah, so we still have private money lending, because I would say most of our investors come in as a private money lender, right? And we tell them, start small and just, dip your toe in the water with us, do a deal. And if you like the experience and you like working with us, then, we can talk about different things. So private money lending is still there. And a lot of people will enter that way. We do have funds. We're actually closing one fund now and launching a new one. And that one is going to be, again, for accredited investors only. It's going to be anywhere from 6 to 14% returns, depending on how long you're in the fund. And it's going to be very similar to a master note program in that we are going to be using it on deals. We'll use it private equity, meaning real estate businesses, our business or a business that we're acquiring, because one of the things we acquired because of master notes was a property management company. It allowed us to grow our property management company from like 56 doors to like 400. And we could only do that because we had the investors who wanted to invest in our growth. We'll do gap funding through that. So it's a mix of real estate and real estate businesses. And depending on how long you're in the fund, then the higher the interest rate is, because we have more use of those funds to be able to use it on long-term illiquid investments because we know it's there. So that's a big one. Syndications are like we have 148 unit syndication right now. And those are really the main ones. I'm going for the income fund, particularly because that's what investors said that they want. And if that's what they want, that's what I'm going to give them.
Yeah. Well, lots of opportunities there. So besides the funds and the private lending, do you have other opportunities for investors?
We do have turnkey real estate. That was one that I forgot. I was just going to ask you, did I forget anything? And I made some notes. So we have turnkey real estate. That's our core business company. We started in turnkey. And so we have rental properties. I believe we have a waiting list on them. We have some of them that are tenanted and ready to go. And we have some that we're in the middle of the leasing process. And over the last year, I believe we have about another 28 in rehab. So that's really our core company, how we got started. And in the middle of building all of our businesses, we ended up buying an apartment complex, which is our drugs, thugs, and bugs. And that's the reason we got into syndications and funds, is because of that experience. And we were like, whoa, I love apartments. The economies of scale are just, man, it's a win.
Well, I think turnkey real estate investing might be a new term for a lot of people. And I think it also has different meanings depending upon who you're talking to. So what does it mean for you and your business?
So what we do is we find a property. They're usually distressed. And so we will completely renovate the property. Our turnkey standards are better than a normal rental standard. So we don't just put paint and carpet in the house. We use high quality flooring, high quality materials, light fixtures, so everything's a step up from the normal rental grade. And actually some neighborhoods that we put them in there, they're actually better than the retail properties that are in that neighborhood. And so we will completely renovate the property. And then we also, because we have the property management company, we put the tenant in the property as well. So the property is cash flowing when the investor buys the property. And we offer these properties that we don't mark these properties above the value of the property. They sell at the value that the property should sell. And then we offer the property management. We offer everything that comes with the property. So it's just a cash flowing.
It's a done for you rental property.
Yeah,
is
exactly.
Essentially cash flowing done for you rental property is what we did. And our property management company, we added a freedom guarantee to it. The reason I talk about this is because a lot of turnkey real estate companies, or especially property management companies, I don't feel like they align their interests with investors. And I say it not to talk down about other property management companies. It's because we're clients of our own property management company. Our own portfolio is being managed. And so one day the property manager came into my office and said, "Hey, Dani, what if I stopped charging you a tenant placement fee and instead I charged you a renewal fee? So that way, when you have a vacant property and you're not getting rent and you have a turn, the cost of a turn, you're not having to pay me a tenant placement fee all on top of it. So the property management company is no longer getting paid when I'm hurting as an investor. Instead, they get paid by keeping the resident in the property. They get paid by the renewal fee." He said, "I did the math, and if we do a good job for investors, we will make more money by getting renewal fees, and it saves the investor money in the long run because it's $250 renewal fee as opposed to 1 month's rent of a resident placement fee every time you have that turn." And I was like, I am in. Like, I literally had to put my investor hat on and say, "I'm in. I think you're crazy, but I'm in. Do it." And then I had to put my owner hat on and I go, "I own this company. Are you sure we're going to be profitable and not charging this fee? Because it's a lot of work for us to be able to get the tenants in the door." And so we have this whole freedom guarantee program that talks about that. It talks about a 1-year warranty, 1-year free property management, instant cash flow, which means when you close on a turnkey property with us, it's already tenanted and cash flowing. If it's not, we're going to pay the rent. So you've got instant cash flow the day you close. And then also another alignment piece was they do a 60-day mortgage guarantee, meaning at any point in time that you're with our property management company, if it is vacant for longer than 60 days, then our property management company starts paying your mortgage on day 61. Again, aligning the interests of, hey, we need to be doing our job, and that's why you're with us. And if we're not doing our job, well, then we need to, this is kind of our stick, right? The carrot and the stick. Our stick is that we have to pay for your mortgage. So it's been a great experience. We're at 700 doors now, and we have a waiting list of people wanting to come in because no other property management company that I know of does this. And, I just think I like it as a client personally. So I hope it works out in the end.
Enlightened investors, if you haven't done so already, be sure and click that like button and also click that share so others can take advantage of the content. And finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one of our upcoming episodes. Well, you have a lot to offer, so tell our audience how they can get in touch with you and in contact with you to take advantage of the many opportunities you have to offer.
Absolutely. So our website is Freedom Family Investments. That's not always really easy to remember. So Chat with Freedom. If you go to chatwithfreedom.com, you're going to go straight to our contact page. So if you do want to talk to us, we have an investor relations team, and their calendars are right there. All you have to do is scroll down, and you can just click on one of their calendars and schedule an appointment. You can also just bounce around the website because that's our actual website to learn more, or email us, invest@freedomfamilyinvestments.com, and anything that you want to put in the subject line about what you're interested in, the team will get those emails and forward it off to the right person so that we can get back to you that way.
And all that information will be in our show notes as well. Well, tell us about drugs, thugs, and bugs.
Flip, I'll let you take this one.
So we found a seller that had 15 properties. There were 12 single family and 3 duplexes. And we really wanted these properties for our turnkey company because, like Dani said, that's our core operation. And the seller said, "Okay, well, I'll sell you these 15 properties, but you have to buy my apartment complex as well. And it's a 56 unit. And we said, "Okay, we don't want that. We just want the 15 properties." We went back and forth. He wouldn't do the deal unless we took the apartments. So we finally decided, all right, well, we're not interested in the apartments, so we're going to wholesale them because we really wanted those 15 properties. We could sell those 15 properties right away. And so we said, we're going to wholesale. Well, this happened March of 2020. So COVID hit, everything slowed down to a crawl, and we actually found a buyer for the apartments. And so this buyer was having issues with his lender. His lender couldn't get out to the property because of COVID. It just one thing after another. 6 months later, we're still negotiating this deal. The buyer, the actual seller, is getting very antsy and is starting to get like
cold
feet, and he's ready to bounce. Right. Well, we went back to the buyer for the apartments, and he tried to renegotiate it so that way we were completely out of the deal. And we said, "Nope, sorry, that's not going to work." And then this one right here decided, "Okay, we're going to buy it and we'll close in 2 weeks." And so we managed to do inspection on all 56 units and the 15 properties and raise money to buy the entire package in 2 weeks, and we closed the middle of October of 2020.
That is truly the power of that trusted network, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
That those private lenders, our private lenders said, yeah, we've been working with you long enough. These apartments are in your backyard. One of them actually traveled down and, to walk the apartments with us. I mean, it was fantastic. But here's where the drugs, thugs, and bugs come in.
Well, yeah. So, and I do want to say too, just so everyone knows, we didn't go into this blindly. We do have friends from Mastermind that they had over 2,000 doors at the time, and they actually helped us underwrite the deal. They told us that if we didn't buy it, they would. That's kind of our sign that we needed to buy it. And so we knew that we wanted to. So we bought these, we went to closing, we closed on the deal, and they handed us a bowl of keys, a literal bowl of keys for the apartments. And we come to find out, and so we're all excited, happy, right? Well, the next morning we wake up, find out that bowl of keys, none of them work. And you name it, it happened from there. The old owner, he had someone at the property that was
the supervisor, property manager,
who was actually a drug dealer. And he was actually getting people that were, getting out of prison, getting out of drug rehab, and putting them into these apartments, having them sign over their social security checks, and then getting them back on drugs and selling them drugs. And it was it was an absolute nightmare. And this is all happening the end of 2020. So we're still on COVID rules and trying to evict everyone. Well, we ended up you can go into more stories there.
So just some really quick experiences. Like literally we would have people we'd have SimpliSafe alarms. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they're just small alarms that you can put into each apartment unit, and people would still get in even though we had the alarm in there. We were so confused. And so the police come, and I just talked to them, and I just said, I don't understand like how they're getting in, but can we just have it so that the alarm goes like, wait, can we do a silent alarm so that you guys can get here fast and like get them out right away? And they said, no, don't do that. Like we're so busy. It might take us, a couple hours to even get here. It might take us a day. We just don't know how often we're going to get there. Go ahead and keep the alarm on loud so they get out. And so we're still trying to figure this out because they're getting in and the alarm's not going off. Well, it turns out like they're going up the stairs, getting in an attic entrance, and then climbing over into the unit. So the alarm, the front door never opens. And so the alarm never goes off. And then a lot of people on the first floor, they were getting in and doing drugs, and they were opening up the windows. So we're boarding up the windows. We're boarding up the attic. It was a long haul to get everybody out, especially during COVID, when it was just tough in the first place. So.
Yeah, I believe I was on speed dial with the local police department.
Yes.
They stopped asking for the owner of the apartment complex, and they knew my name. And also what's interesting is where this unit is, there's a church right next door. And it's not significant that there's this church right now, but what's on the other side of the church is a very large apartment complex it's absolutely gorgeous and no problems there. So it's not like it's that bad of a part of town. It's just everyone, this unit has been it's been known for a very, very long time
for drugs and homeless activity.
Yes.
So everybody just went there and they didn't want to stop.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it was a great place for that kind of activity. And yeah, that can run a very profitable operation really quickly there. Well, I can see why the seller wanted to get out of that. It would be a difficult thing to deal with there. Well, let's move into our last 4 questions. And first of all, what is one of your most difficult setbacks? And you may have just talked about that. And how did you come through that? And what did you learn from that?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this one. It's a fairly recent one. It's about 1.5 years old. I hired a CEO to take my place. And it was somebody that was with our company for about 3 years, knew everything about the company. And I just didn't take enough time to maybe give him a trial. I had never hired a CEO before. I'd never had to replace myself. I really wanted to focus on building the fund and syndication company. And that's why I wanted somebody else looking after the other 5 companies. And it didn't work out. And it was a roller coaster ride, and it was frustrating for them. It was frustrating for us. And in the end, it was a lesson of there's power in your network. Right? Because there's a lot of people that I know that have hired CEOs successfully, and I didn't go out and ask the right questions to the right people before making a really, really big move like that. So when he ended up resigning, I had to step back in, and I'm building company number 6. And now I'm have to be back in charge of company number 5. So it was a really tough ride that I just wish I would have, tapped into people that have done it. And that's what we know. We've always hired coaches and mentors that are exactly where we want to be, and we've learned from them. And I made a mistake of not doing that when I hired the CEO, just because I thought I know this gentleman, like, it's going to work. It's going to be great. And it just teaches me to do my due diligence. But what I did learn from that after the fact was it's okay to stay in the CEO seat and just hire a president. And so that's what I did, is I ended up moving up one of our team members into the presidential role, so that the activity is being controlled by the president. It's not all 100% on my plate. I can still be working on this 6th company and now the 7th company, Hard Money Lending, but I'm still in charge, and, I call the shots. And so that was a really, really tough lesson, because it felt at the time like our biggest victory.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's hard to know what questions to ask if you haven't actually done something like that to start with. So it's understandable. But yeah, the point about mentors, definitely a great point there. Well, what are 3 good things from the last 24 hours that you have experienced?
Gosh, well, I'm going to say this podcast is one of them. We love being on podcasts. We love meeting new people. I will also say, you choose one.
We're always listening, and I don't read books. I've never read a book since I was in college. And so I'm always listening to audiobooks, and I purposely every morning, I'm always listening to anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour of a book. And just the book that I'm on right now, I'm listening to the same chapter over and over, because it's so filled full of goodness. And I'm telling everybody that I can tell this quote to, I tell it to you. And that's, what is it? Success doesn't lead to happiness. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. And I keep saying it over and over and over. It's such a powerful thing that every time it just makes me smile.
Yeah.
And I would say item number 3 would be, we are recording this 12-part video series, and I'm asking a lot of our clients to do testimonials with us. And so I've been recording testimonials in the last 24 hours, and I'm right now in the middle of going through them to give them to our production team. And the most amazing things are being said, and you're just like, it just touches like you. And it's like, it makes you feel like this big roller coaster ride of building all these companies was actually worth it, because it's doing what you intended it to do.
Yeah. Great. Well, how are you putting your success as investors and entrepreneurs to work to create universal well-being?
Yeah. So I think for us, it's really about, giving back. That is such a big passion of ours. It's why we get up in the morning, and surrounding ourselves with people who are like-minded, who really want to make this world a better place. And the more people that we surround ourselves with that have that type of mindset, the more opportunities that we're presented in order to do so. And in order to give back, whether that be through our time or through our money or through education, whatever that looks like. And I'm so grateful for the people that we meet, because, we all feel like there's a purpose for us being here. And I believe our purpose is to make the world a better place, better than we left it.
That's right.
When we leave this earth, we want it better than we arrived. And so that's, I think, our biggest goal.
Wonderful. Well, imagine you've come to the end of your life and you lay on your deathbed. What do you look back on with your greatest sense of joy and fulfillment?
For me, it's living this is such a hard question. I think it's just living that life that you're just proud of, that you left everything on the table. You lived it you did everything that you could, that you felt was aligned with your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our bucket list of things, but the most important things is always making sure, because we don't have kids, we have dogs, and we have our families, but we don't have, any kids to pass the companies down to. We always refer to, that's why we call it the freedom family of companies, because the 59 team members, they're family. We don't call them employees, they're team members. They're some of the most special and dear friends of ours. And we always want to make sure that they're taken care of, and that the legacy continues. And we now have freedom babies. We got at least 3 freedom babies now, and so it's making sure that they're taken care of, and it's just that's what's most important.
Yeah. Dogs are important too.
Oh, we
Yes.
love them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Well, it has been wonderful having you, Flip, and Dani Lynn. Wonderful, wonderful experiences you shared with us, and what a journey you have been on. So thanks for sharing that with us. And enlightened investors, thank you for being with us. You make this show, and we could not have a show without you. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And please leave us comments. We love to hear from you. And please go to Apple Podcast and leave us a rating and a review. Until next time, live abundantly, and we'll see you in the next episode. Enlightened investors, wait, don't go just yet. I just want to remind you about our recently launched webinar that you will not want to miss. If you're at all curious and would like to learn more about how real estate investing can diversify your investment portfolio, alleviate the anxiety associated with Wall Street swings, leverage your 401ks and IRAs to substantially increase the return on your investment, and do all of this with turnkey, hands-off, passive real estate investments, then you'll want to immediately go to stevetalker.com/webinar. In the webinar, we'll also address the common dubious investment schemes that you want to avoid. To access the webinar, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you in the webinar.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Investing Abundance, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, a company working for passionate professionals like you to develop financial independence built on solid, passive real estate investments. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steve Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the human treatment of horses worldwide. Steve Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. For resources to develop your financial independence, connect with us at stevetalker.com.